Alright, so I have no idea how common Let's Plays are for Flash games, especially not decades-old Flash games. But, the other day, I had a memory deep in my memory banks dig itself back up, and I remembered playing this game when I was like a little kid, and I remembered that I hadn't beaten it or really come even close. And so I did some vague Google searching and found it again. I actually was playing it on my own a minute ago, and then I screwed up badly enough for to kind of screw up the rest of my game. So I was like, well, I'm gonna restart, and then I remembered, oh, hold on, just record this real quick and toss it up on YouTube. So why not? I figure this is going to be more like a long play than a let's play, because I don't actually know how long this game is, but I can't imagine that it's that long. I apologize right up front for the numerous probably insensitivities that are present in various parts of this game, but I think when I hit play, the premise will reveal itself, and a number of inconsistencies will be presented. But let's get right into it. New game. I'm not sure whether I should narrate the text, but you know what, why not? Welcome to the last village. I am Ayana. I will guide you through this game. Which, I mean, right off the bat, you gotta love this very clearly light-skinned lady with a garment that clearly no one would have worn, but yeah, let's just go. In this game, you will defend your village from enemy invasion. You can train 5 different armies to help you protect the village. Each army is led by a commander who has a special ability. At the top left corner, you can see how many days you've kept the village unharmed. Every time you end your round, the number will increase by 1. At the top center, you can see the resources statistics, which consists of food, iron, wood, and the population of your village. Do not forget to keep your resources stocked. At the right, you can switch to other statistics of your weapons as well as troop count. At the top right is one of the most important parts of this game, the minimap. From here, you can see the position of each commander and his troops, the enemy's attack direction, and the condition of the buildings in your village. On the right is a list of buildings that can help you set up your defense. You cannot build in just any place. If you are on the right spot, the icon in the panel will light up. That means you can build the object in that map. Should be like quadrant, but this game is not ripe for nitpicking. Remember, every building's essential function is to help defend the village. Mouse over the building to find out its function. Some buildings can be upgraded to increase productivity. This affects the quality of these buildings' ability to defend the village. I guess that's all for now. Please try all the features and defend our village as best you can. Good luck. I hope to see you again. So one of the obvious things that that sticks out to me to make note of is when you check the locations of your commanders at the start, and so they're adjacent, each of them, to the center of the map, whereas these gates are where enemies come from, and they're not in the same quadrant as the gates, which is problematic because when an enemy shows up at the gate, they don't just march right toward the town center. So they really also, they take whatever path that they want. They destroy any buildings on their way to get to. You know what? You'll see. But the point is, there are several things that the game doesn't point out at the top that are very useful to know, and so it's actually kind of better to get the bearing for it and then restart. But anyway, onward. A couple of these buildings you kind of get the instinct to build right away. Blacksmith to produce weapons and armor, and the temple, which increases the morale and defense power of the army in battle. The upgrades that you can buy from the temple, while good upgrades, they take more resources than you can spare. So you may as well wait until you have a surplus to build that later. But again, we'll figure it out. So on any given turn, you can move one commander to any square, which they, well, not to any square. It's kind of like chess. They can move their own. Yeah. They've got their own formation that they can move in, which is pretty intuitive. But I gotta tell you, I never figured out what. I've never experimented with the set trap functionality. I don't know what it does, but some fun, very fictional lore if you go to the strategy screen and hit the info button for any of the commanders, and that's kind of tedious, so I won't read all of that, but you know, you're welcome to pause and read it. So hold on a second. They say that these are all folks, Apache folks, but of course the problem with that is that of course the chief has this feather headdress, which it's not an Apache thing. Apaches that's just not their thing. Again, there's a million things that you can nitpick in this game. They talk about their weapons and their character traits and so on. I noticed that in this one, they say that she has long rifles, which in the sprite that appears to be correct. Of course, if you notice on the title screen, she clearly has a double-barreled shotgun. I know it's possible to make a double-barreled rifle, but it'd be stupid. It'd be a little stupid because you need to have it center fire to get the. It's silly. And magic exists magic exists in this world too. The shaman can just fire magical energy out of his staff, which is, I mean, at that point you can throw any measure of historical, out the window. And also, of course, there's the even though clearly, historically, natives did capture firearms from colonialists, and also horses. So that's not out of the question. But these metal weapons, which clearly, they did not capture from colonialists. There also wasn't really metallurgy to my understanding, there wasn't much metallurgy in, well, at least not ironworks in North America, in indigenous North America, which, you know, did I click through all of these? I think I did, but just to be sure, there you go. So it you know, kind of frustrating to look over, but so what I'm gonna do at the top here is just build as many resource. I'm also going to use my first move to a very important thing is that, I mean, again, you'll see, but I gotta move this gent. Go ahead and move him down a square because he can only move one square adjacent. It's important to have him down there. So you'll also notice that two of the commanders, three of the commanders? I don't know, some of them only have melee weapons, which is... yeah, whatever. Whatever. So I'm just going to build these production buildings, because of course, it being a strategy game, you want to put your resources into production first, so that the production can work for you for the rest of the game. So I'm going to go ahead to all these resource spots and put up the iron mining, food production, and whatnot. I'm going to skip the harbors because they're kind of resource intensive for not much return. And I don't need to build any actual defensive buildings until there start to be enemies. So we're good for that for a second. Now, since there's not much to comment on, I will go ahead and provide some external commentary, which is to say, and of course, money-making buildings, because money is the scarcest gold. There's no official minted currency. But so, of course, because I live in the United States, and I'm a person that thinks about things and has a conscience, I have sort of a... I have, you know, the history of indigenous people in the Americas and their colonization is something important to me. Because, you know, especially as a white person, because my ancestors came and really threw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. But and so as a little personal anecdote, my mother told my half-sister and I from when we were really... Oh no, hold on, why am I bothering to do this? This doesn't add up. I can buy a little bit of wood. Natives can have little wood as a treat. Actually, you know, I'm just gonna upgrade these dang sawmills. That's what I'm gonna do. So my mother, from the time that my half-sister and I were really little, always told us that our great-grandmother was a full-blooded member of the Cherokee Nation. I say member of the Cherokee Nation. I mean ethnically Cherokee, and also a member of the Cherokee Nation. But we didn't have any, of course, we didn't have, we didn't have any documentation for that, and there's no genealogical records that affirm that. But because our mother met and saw and interacted with her grandmother growing up, and gonna go ahead. I think that's all I can build without selling stuff and being counterproductive. You're under attack for the first time. At the lower left corner, there's a notification to bookmark attacks every time. That doesn't make much sense. There's a notification to bookmark attacks every time our spies see the enemy coming. To prevent enemy forces from attacking the village center, you must move the commander and his troops to blockade the movement of the enemy. Use at least 2 commanders and their troops to stop the enemy attack, because each troop has its own commander. You can use the commander and troops using the menu at the right, but the chief Wambiska cannot leave the village. What a name, by the way. This was clearly... I mean, I don't want to be... I'll have to check the credits, but my instinct is... Boy, this game was developed by some white folks. They really just shook the Native American name generator and just put in whatever came out. He cannot leave the village center. Of course, if they take the village center, they can. But anyway, remember, sending more commanders and their troops to the war gives you more chances to win. This game also struggles with like syntax, but it's pretty neat for when it was developed, I presume. I don't know when this was developed. I don't know. I'm just vibing. Anyway, what I find to be the best strategy is you take these folks that are already oriented in the cardinal directions, move them to where the attack is coming from, and then use this guy in the middle who has a really... well, I'll have to wait for the next thing. But anyway, she always told us that her great-grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee, and so my sister and I grew up wholeheartedly believing that we were, the math checks out to like 1/8 native in our genetics, and we did a couple of years ago. Both my half-sister and I did genetic tests, which came back with absolutely 0 Native American genes. We're like 99.9% white, which does not entirely mean, this does not necessarily mean that we didn't actually have a native great-grandmother, but because genes are random. It's possible that our mother and her mother just passed on a higher proportion of genes that of white genes than would be dictated by pure mathematics, and so we just ended up that way, even though our ancestry does not reflect that. Sorry, I'm just checking through to make sure I have all the resource buildings built. But so it doesn't necessarily mean, but I feel that there's little enough confidence in it that I just wouldn't mention it anymore. I'm like, I am white. That's just it. That's all. Not interesting. I'm white. But it was like kind of crippling to my half-sister because she kind of had a lot of stock in it. So I should probably start upgrading buildings now. She put a lot of stock in it because one of her great passions is, I want to put this nicely because I don't want to air bad things about my sister, to the internet, but I'm thinking, my sister is really passionate about the boy, this is difficult. Oh my, should, but that's fine. We're fine. Let's put up. Oh, good. Cool. Very cool. Very nice. I should be able to get like. No, it's fine. It's fine. Who can still move this turn? So one of my half-sister's great passions is the struggles of marginalized communities is the best. I know that just sounds generic. Everyone should be passionate about the. Everyone should be passionate about the struggles of marginalized communities. Why is my intern button up? There we go. Okay. But there's a magical look. There is a magical flower in this village. It is for making potions that strengthen our troops to resist the enemy attacks. Unfortunately, this flower is very rare and hard to find, and if we're not careful enough, the flower will disappear, and we'll have to wait for it to appear again. That's how flowers work. A botany. Only the wizard Kachata can pick the flowers and make potions to strengthen the army. That's the flowers appear only for one day, then they disappear. Move Kachata to take the flower through the strategy menu on the side panel. That's the thing. Is Kachata is really helpful to be the second army when there's an attack, because he can move, because he has that. His movement is that good, but the problem is that he's the only one that can pick magical flowers. So, but you know what though is he can't get to that. That flower is all the way in the bottom right, so he can't get to that anyway. So he may as well go. And by the way, I don't know why, but I've only ever seen the flowers show up in the bottom right corner. I don't know why, but you'd think they would spread it out a little. But he's a really good backup army because he does ranged attacks, and also he has such great movement, so he can get anywhere that he needs to go. Anyway, I was saying about my sister is that she was really proud about the idea of having Native American heritage and genes, and so I'm pretty sure she talked about it a lot and used it kind of like a I can't make. I assume that she brought it up a lot, is the point. And I think after we got our genetic tests back, she kind of was in denial about it, and just like made excuses and was like, I don't know if science is right. So I actually have, in general, I have quite a lot of contempt for my sister, and so it takes me some effort to talk nicely about her. I'll just try to refrain from talking about her, but there's you some light context. I'm just checking around to see if I can upgrade any buildings, and I almost can. I'm light on wood, so I need to upgrade my wood. So I'll go buy some food real quick just so I can make that happen. It's 200 iron, 250 wood. How cheap is food? This market is. I'm sorry if I didn't adequately explain the details of this game, and also I'm sorry that it seems to be lagging. Oh, that's a pretty good deal. How much do I need? 250? I just need 3. I apologize if I kind of just. But I mean, the best learning comes from just seeing it be done instead of having it explained to you. So I'll be all right. Can I afford to upgrade this? 250 for... Plus I got 2 armies, and plus this is the beginning of the game, so it'll be fine. Wow, I ran out of resources quick. Alright, let them come. So now we'll see combat when they step through the door here. You don't actually see the armies unless this screen doesn't come up. I have no magic potion, so I have to go ahead with that. Alright, use the left and right arrow keys and move the mouse left. Whatever. I'll just do it. I don't need to give you keybinds. It's fine. I don't know why this game is lagging so much. Oh, it's not lagging at the moment. There we go. And really, at this beginning interval, I don't have to. We really don't have to do anything. Music in this game is kind of great, actually. But oh, so as you can see, one of our commanders here is not ranged, and so oh wait, is it? Oh no, he is. But at least one of the commanders cannot do ranged attacks at all, and so they just can't attack anything that's not in their lane or adjacent to their lane, and so it's really important that you have somebody like Kachada that can do it. Very silly. I find it silly, kind of silly that it's magic, but you know, it is what it is. We've received some information about our last battle. 0 units created, 0 killed, 0 food stock, because you only use food stock to create forces, but you know. Our base got a little bit beat up, that's okay. And 0 gold gain. I have, so when I had to restart, I played for 20 days, and despite all of the battles, I never gained any gold. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, if I'm supposed to be picking something up or something, but beats the heck out of me. I'm gonna go ahead and move Kachada down here so that he can assist. And so, otherwise we're good. Is there anything we can upgrade? Probably... we can upgrade one of our iron mines. And that's really what all of these strategy games like this are about, is yes, we're good, is getting your resource production up first. So just because if you don't have that foundation built at the beginning of the game, it kind of does you over for the rest of the game. But oh, what do you need? Hold on. I was remarking in my Gothic 2 video, I don't know why my computer has trouble running Gothic 2. It's old and my computer's fine, and here it is with a Flash game, which really cements the fact that it has nothing to do with hardware. Anyway, I would need some more wood, but that's okay. Do I have enough wood to do that? I don't know why it costs so much food to chop up wood. Is it just calorie intensive? Is that your excuse? Anyway. So probably obvious once you look at the battle interface, but the reason that you have to bring your troops, I mean your what's the best word? They're like squad. I don't know. The reason you have to bring your commanders down, especially, is because if you have one of these watchtowers built, although they have an archer in them that shoots at the enemies, they don't do it passively. It only works in combat, and so if enemies show up on the shore and you have a tower built, they'll just tear down your tower and keep going, which is really annoying. It's always resources lost, but I have to wait for the next turn to get enough resources for that. Yeah, it's fine. I can just wait to bring Kachada down. So what are we low on now? We're still low on wood, so we can bring up another wood and bring up another sawmill. This game is really just it's pretty chill, and I appreciate it for that. I already upgraded that one. In general, I really like strategy games a lot. It's at least nominally one of my favorite genres. I don't know where I was going with that point, but there you go. Which sawmill haven't I upgraded? Here's more proof that. By the way, if anybody does happen to be watching, I want to note to you that my struggle here really. I want to make clear that when you're watching I don't know how many people have expounded on this, but when you're watching a Let's Play, it looks really easy to just do commentary and play the game at the same time. It is not easy. It's just not. So hopefully my let me just get a real quick. Hopefully my inability to even remember where I put things is a good indication that the task is hard. Let's plays aren't easy. Gosh darn. There we go. Alright, now we're good to go. Oh, you know what? I didn't move anybody today. I'll move somebody today. You know what? Yeah, I should. Go ahead and move my archer commander to the north coast. There we go, enter. I don't know why it takes so long for it to register that my cursor is over the button. I clearly need to learn more about coding and computing and whatnot, because it is not. It's embarrassing. Alright, what are we? We're doing well on iron, but I don't have a watch tower. Hold that, because they're getting invaded tomorrow. 250, we're good. Not enough to upgrade it, but that's okay. And again, there will be combat, but we can really just sit back and relax. No magic potions still. Once combat starts happening and you start actively getting invaded, the workflow becomes a little more evident. So this is the guy that can only do melee, and it's really hard to deal with, kind of. Also have to love how the shamans... I don't know why they call him a wizard, by the way. That's kind of... Well, I mean, I guess he is a wizard. He's using magic, but indigenous North Americans were not known for their wizards. Anyway, you know, that's one thing about, if you notice, that kind of going back and forth on using the term Native American and using the term indigenous. See, the thing is, the reason that I've been thinking about this lately and I've been struggling with, I'm not sure what term to use, is because there's kind of something fundamentally wrong with using the word American to describe indigenous folks, because the name America it's some European dude, if memory serves me right. But the name America is some European dude that made maps. So that no, I don't want to. So that word is kind of like fundamentally unindigenous and colonial. So it feels like it shouldn't be the common term, but it's kind of I don't know, it doesn't seem like there's one that's alternative, well, not one that I know of anyway, that is sufficiently specific to describe exactly who you're talking about, and also respectful, and also, you know, excluding colonialism from the equation. It's difficult. It's difficult. That kind of, you know, investigation of the conversation about colonialism and, you know, the history of the Americas happens to coincide at the time of this recording with, oh, come on! Oh, I'm out of money! I'm out of money! Gotta sell some wood, obviously. It happens to coincide with some current events as Turkey, the nation of Turkey, has been threatening to, if the United States government formally recognizes the, how many resources do I need to make this harvest? To call a harvest? Yeah. 120, 250. The Turkish government has threatened to, if the United States government formally recognizes the Armenian genocide, which was perpetrated by Turkey, I don't want to say like 80 years ago now? It coincides with a bunch of World War I events that I haven't read about extensively. What did I need? I needed 120. So I guess I'll sell down to... Is it 120? Ah, man. That sucks. Look at me, I've cut myself off like several different times now. If the United States State Department formally recognizes 120-250 formally recognizes the Armenian genocide the Turkish government has threatened that they will formally recognize the genocide of indigenous people in North America by the United States government, which I believe the last thing that I saw about it was that Turkey went ahead and is now formally recognizing the Native American genocide, which, like, some folks in our government are like, no, don't do it, if I remember right. But, I mean, it's the truth. Acknowledge it. It's, you know. It's controversial because we're on the internet, but it's really, in terms of objective fact, it is not controversial that the United States government is built on a history of bloodshed, and it's, you know, but you know, every government does atrocities and then tries to cover them up, and is very nasty and gross. Not to play an everybody game, but of course I live in the United States. It's my job to criticize the United States government because I'm a participant in it, at least in my capacity as a voter. So, but like, I mean, you know, I'm not. Look at the corner I've talked myself into while playing a decade-old Flash game on addictinggames.com. Look at me. that takes some special work. But what I was saying, and again, I'm not excusing the United States government's many crimes and atrocities. What comes to mind when I think of that is also the fact that I've looked at the same stream. Okay, good. Just end the day. End the turn. Yes. What comes to mind is the fact that it was just like if I remember right, it was just a few years ago that the Japanese government apologized for, I believe it was the illegal internment. Of course we interned Japanese people during World War II, but they only recently apologized for their internment and use in slave labor of Americans during World War II. Either it was the Japanese government, or it was like a Japanese company like Mitsubishi. And the Japanese government actually did apologize a bunch of years ago. I can't remember. I apologize for putting out what is incomplete information. I might, if I like listen to this again, and wow, I've got a lot of resources going here. That's good. I might, when I go back and listen to this again, go ahead and look for that story that I kind of remember reading, and I'll post a link in the description in case anybody's interested. It's a, you know, what a bummer to think about all the atrocities committed by world governments, though. When you think about it from that framing, it's kind of a, it's really kind of a, it's really kind of a convincing, it's a tempting, it's a tempting urge towards anarchism in my mind. But that's a long conversation, whether you prefer. Okay, so what do I wish there was, it would be really great if there was some kind of if there was something on the map to indicate. I mean, it does show you what you've built, and that's nice. I didn't actually realize that until I opened it again just now. But it would be really nice if there was a neat indication of how upgraded your things are. But that's just me. Otherwise, I have to go to them individually and look at them. Again, though, this is a solid... Oh no, I just got a text message. Did you hear that? It was not a text message. It was a campaign email from the Bernie Sanders 2020 campaign. It's fun. I do that to myself all the time. I always keep... That's one thing about me is... I'm probably one of the, like, insanely few members of my generation. And of course, I'm gonna say this and then I sound like, born in the... Hashtag born in the wrong generation, yo. I like 1920s music. But no, does the friggin' commander symbol... Oh, that's, you know what, it comes up in text at the bottom, that's nice. I'm gonna say this and sound like, oh, born in the wrong born in the wrong generation, but shucks. I gotta make the hamster in my head turn. What was I gonna say? Oh, so I'm one of the probably. I mean, I'm being honest here. I'm not being born in the wrong generation, but I figure I'm really honestly probably one of the few. I mean, of course, statistically few, proportionally few, not numerically few, because we live in a world of billions. But I'm probably one of the proportionally few people of my generation in the world that answers phone calls that they receive. I keep my call volume on, especially at night when I'm lying in bed, and I'm like, oh, if I don't know, somebody needs me. But most people my age, and I don't blame them, of course, just don't answer their phone. It's just like, you know, I get it. It's an anxiety thing, and it's, you know, so on and so forth. But I answer my phone all the time, and I keep my volume on, especially because, you know, I talked about it before, but I don't talk to anybody is a major fact about me. But historically, it's always been really frustrating to me when people don't answer their phones. So because I realized how that made me feel, I 150, 200. I don't have any gold. Okay, let's just call it a day then. Did I already move somebody? I already moved somebody. Oh sweet, I was already right on the flower. Got him. That's convenient. Now I can have him go support my other commander. I think. Yes. But so I keep my notification call volume on all the time. Especially, okay, I forgot. Another reason I keep my call volume on is because sometimes, and I urge anybody who's listening, also keep your phone volume on. You get fun. I mean, you get scams sometimes, sure, and you have to know that they're scams and not engage in them. Oh, you know what? An aside is the other day I got a. What did I get? Oh, I have a lot of wood. I got a. It was a really good one too. It was from a discrete number, and it claimed to be the Social Security Administration. It was an automated. It was an automated system, which really made it sound more official, I think. It was an automated system that said that it was the Social Security Administration, and I needed to stay on the line to talk to a representative because regarding some regarding unpaid. I'm struggling to remember exactly what it was, but it was basically I had received benefits that I wasn't in time. I received benefits and I needed to pay back pay because there was some issue that I wasn't compensated in the right way. It's the long and short of it. And so they said, stay on the line or you will be arrested. And so that's how you know, in case anybody ever... And of course it was extra effective towards me because I actually have received payments from Social Security before, which is a long story, but basically... What do you mean not enough reason? Ah. Alright, I'll sell some more wood and some more iron. It's a long story, but basically my dad who I haven't talked to my dad in years, he's a scumbag. You know, basically everybody's dad is that's not true. It's very common that people's dads are scumbags and they leave and they suck. I don't care, I didn't like my dad, he was a jerk, he was abusive. I don't want to get into I was abused when I was a kid, but my dad was abusive, and so I didn't care. But who cares? The point is, he got injured one time, and so that entitled me. He was injured to the point that he couldn't work anymore. He was kind of basically worked in construction, and he rolled a machine over and got hurt pretty bad. But the point is, I got compensation from the Social Security Administration, and then actually, interestingly, something did go kind of wrong, and I was requested to pay back. I just realized I used the word back pay wrong earlier. I apologize for that. But I was supposed to pay them back. But actually, I had already used those benefits that I received to pay for my car. I had no money to give them back. So I had to go through a kind of a long and cruddy process. Well, actually it wasn't that long. I just had to fill out something that said, I can't pay you back. I have no way to pay you back. And I need, okay, 250, 300, 200. Help me remember. Post in the comments, 200. I already don't remember what it was. 250, 300, 200. Also, I don't really need this tower, but who cares? It's extra, I get to do nothing. 250. I have already screwed it up. 250, 300. But so after the Social Security Administration understood I had no way to pay the money that I was technically supposed to pay back. They were like, hey, alright, it's waived. Anyway, so it was actually it actually was kind of effective in making me like, whoa, is this, when I got that scam call from the fake Social Security Administration. But, the long and short of it was that, toward the end of what the robot system was saying, dang it, I didn't mean to use a potion. Dagnabbit. Oh well, I might be okay. I might be okay. Well, I mean, of course I'll be okay, but who knows, it might be harder than... Anyway, wow, those sure work. I feel bad for wasting that potion, but oh well. So toward the end of what the robot was saying, it said if I don't stay on the line and talk to a representative, I will be arrested. And so, pro tip for anybody that received a scam a phone call claiming to be from the Social Security Administration. Not only am I pretty sure that they won't generally call you first, they'll send you a letter first. And of course I haven't received the letter. But the Social Security Administration will never ever threaten you with arrest if you don't respond to them. It just doesn't work that way. They're not allowed to do that. So that's the hot tip. But what I was saying was, I kind of like how when I'm talking about things and then well, at least I'll be able to get my flower back because it's on the map again. And again, 0 gold. I still don't understand it. Anyway, I kind of like that when I get off on a tangent, I make an open parentheses and then I start talking about a new thing, and then even when I'm talking about a new thing, I'll make another set of parentheses. But I think I'm pretty effective at actually closing those parentheses up. So close that parentheses. Oh, is it one? That's another thing about this is I'm sure it was just it would have been really hard to code, but they'll show you on this map where the flower is. But when you get here, it's just not, so you have to remember it. And it's kind of easy to mess up, so they should have put it there if they were able to. But, yeah, small gripe. But so, what I was saying about you can get scam phone calls sometimes. I always keep my volumes on my phone. But that's a thing that happens to me often, is I keep my notification volume all the way up. And I'm pretty sure this is a common experience, but so I'll get like an email and it'll come up in my notifications and it plays the text message, well, text message, any notification, it'll play the notification sound. And I'll get myself excited because I kept my volume on and I got a notification. I'm like, did somebody text me? And of course, no. I got a promotional email or something, and then I'm disappointed. I was like, nobody talks to me. I wish they did. I always talk about how lonely and sad I am, but in reality, it's really, at the end of the day, it's just my fault. If I want people to talk to me, I should reach out to them more. But I'm chronically afflicted with a very common ailment of people my age, which is I don't want to be a bother, so I'll just be like, oh hey, that's tempting. No. Which is I just don't want to be a bother, so I'll just not talk to somebody. I assume they don't want to talk to me, which, you know, is a sad thought, but I really don't want to be a bother. I just realized, so I was like, I'll make this a long play, but then I looked up, it's been an hour. I don't know how much longer this game will be. So I'm thinking that maybe, I mean, an hour is it's going to take a long time to upload. I think I'll just go ahead and cut it here, start right back up, just so that I'm not sat for 2 hours for this video to upload. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to upload this and then upload the next one right after, as soon as it'll upload. I'm going to go, I mean, it's like 8 o'clock at night. I'm just going to go ahead and play through this whole game, I think. This game could be like 3 years long, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm in a let's play mood, so I'll cut this and then pick it right back up. So if you made it to the end of this one, I said you were a trooper for making it to the end of the last one in Gothic, but this one, if you made it to the end of this one, top notch. Thank you for sticking around. If you watch the next part, wow. I hope you got something out of it. Again, feel free to engage me. Debate me, guys. If you don't want to talk to me about anything in the comments, just post a comment. I'll get back to you. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one. And alright.